6 guests today, guys. All of them here to make you money. This is WagerTalk Today, the best daily sports betting show on the planet. We are here to give out actionable information. If you have not ever seen this show before, stay with us. We are going to take apart a lot of games. Our first guest, Ralph Michaels, is going to look at how to bet the NCAA tournaments. He's also going to give us a bet on the Purdue-Illinois game. That's on Fox, and it's tonight. He's also going to tell us how to bet the New York Knickerbockers and the LA Clippers. After that, we've got Andrew Bapatakis on from the Westgate. That's one of the best sports books on the planet. He's going to give out some UFC bets. Andy Lang, Carmine Bianco with some hockey bets. We've got a surprise, amazing guest, one of our regulars in the chat room, B Daddy, joining us. He's got a couple of bets in the NBA, and we're going to end the show with Gianni The Greek. If somewhere in there we have time for me to give you my thoughts on every NHL game on the board, we will. But right now, it's about professionalism, Prez. You got to put your personality aside. You got to hunker down. You got to bear down. You got to focus. You got to get through these 6 guests. The show is not about you. Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. Ralph, how are you, my friend? Nice to see you.
Prez, I think after that intro, we're now down to 5 guests. We'll see how close you cut the time, but doing great. You know, I want one small correction, Prez. I am going to give a couple notes about the conference tournaments taking place this week and next week. We'll talk about March Madness much more next week on a special March Madness bet on it and here on the show as well.
Perfect. Well, let's start because this is all about actionable info today on Freak Out Friday, because that's what I'm doing given that I have 6 guests. Okay, so let's start right off the bat with conference tournament betting tips, and I like to give my first one. Don't bet my college basketball plays during the conference. That's my first tip. The microphone is yours.
Well, Prez, first let's mention this. I did a free guide, 6 pages. If you ever had a question, how hard is it to beat a team 3 times? How hard is it to beat a team 3 times if you won the first 2 as a dog? What happens with teams with more rest? What happens in a bunch of conference tournament situations off a win as a dog and off losses as favorites? But I'm going to give you 2 very easy to use, one situation and one system. And then when you go and download the guide, you're going to have another 25 situations that is free on my homepage, wt.buzz/RM. First, Prez, I want to talk about AP top 5 teams. When you're an AP top 5 team, you are tuned in to become a national championship. Winning your conference tournament isn't important. And in fact, it doesn't mean much if you're going to be a number 1 or a number 2 seed. So when you look at AP top 5 teams, when they're playing their first game in the conference tournament with at least 3 days of rest, they have gone 62.5% against the spread. But if you have an AP top 5 team, they win their first game and then they're playing with no rest, those teams only 37.9%. There's a lot of coaches I heard talk, well, our priority is not to win the tournament, the conference tournament. The priority is to be the national championship on that first Monday in April. So system 1, look at AP top 5 teams in the first game of the tournament, fade them from game 2 on. And here's a situation that is a 64.3% fade. If you have a conference tournament team that won their opener as a dog, and now they have no rest and they're a dog of 5.5 or more against a rested foe, going all the way back to 2013, those teams are only 36% against the spread. So take a look and fade. Day 2 of the tournaments, when we have a team off a win as a dog, they're a dog of 5.5, and the opposition has 2 or more days rest, it's a fade spot. All of those situations free in the free guide.
Ralph Michaels joining us, everyone. And Ralph, these free guides that you put together are absolutely incredible. Where do people get them? When are they out?
I put it up last night. It's available now. Hundreds already have downloaded it. Again, you head to my homepage. You'll click on the conference tournament guide, shortcut to my homepage, wt.buzz/RM.
Ralph Michaels, one of the best there is and an awesome freaking guy. Lucky to have you in my life, business-wise and personally. Ralph, let's turn our attention to Purdue. They're on the road. They're playing Illinois, and this Purdue team has owned Illinois. I mean, they've won 5 straight. Few of them have been close, some blowouts along the way. They are a dog of plus 4.5. They're off 2 wins, including a whooping of Rutgers. They got to 100 points in this game, Ralph, and the total is only 159.5 here. And Illinois also coming off of 2 wins, and we're only 7 away from 100. So I'm curious where you're going here, because this looks, it feels, it tastes like an over.
Well, I can agree with that, Prez, and I'm going to be a specific over in that time. Now, you look at Purdue. Purdue lost 4 in a row, and then they beat UCLA and Rutgers, 2 of the bottom teams in the Big Ten, and they beat them at home. So now they travel on the road. Their last road game against Michigan, they lost. Their last 3 road games they lost, to Michigan State, and to Indiana. So now they're playing the final game of the regular season on the road. When I look at Purdue's defense, it is horrific. You know, they come in with a number 50 defense as far as Ken Palm adjusted efficiency goes, but their raw numbers are number 222, and they've allowed over 50% shooting 5 of the last 9 games. That is something Matt Painter is just can't believe how bad it's going.
Yeah.
I look at Purdue. Purdue, their defense has, again, not played well. They're 8-3 over under the last 11. They're the number 15th slowest team in the Big Ten and number 296 in the country. But they have a very efficient offense and they have poor defense. On the flip side, very few teams are as quick as Illinois. They're number 1 in the Big Ten in tempo, number 18 nationally. You look at their last few games, 81 points against Iowa, 93 points against Michigan. The Michigan game was on the road. They're back at home. Hot tempo, fast tempo takes care of slow tempo and a bad defense. Prez, I agree with your over, but I'm going to make it a specific over and go Illinois team total over 82 in this matchup.
There we go. Illinois team total over 82 for Ralph Michaels. Ralph, let's turn our attention to some NBA. Guys, if you like what you're hearing, take a second and just on that like button. Honestly, it's like a split second. It means the world to us. We put a lot of work and effort into these shows, and hitting that like button definitely helps the algorithm. Okay, let's turn our attention to some NBA. We got the LA Clippers tonight. They're coming off of a win against the Detroit Pistons. This guy was on the Detroit Pistons at the time and lost, although I came back with a win last night on Houston. But let's not make this about me. Prez, focus. 123-115. They beat the Pistons, but they did lose 3 games prior to that. They're playing the New York Knicks, who are coming off of 2 losses, including a tough one against the Lakers. Ralph, my gut feel right now is teams playing the day after they play the Lakers are going to find themselves in a little bit of a letdown spot. That's just a gut feel. I have no reason, no evidence or proof about that. It just kind of makes logical sense to me. Anyway, I don't know if you're taking that into account or if it means anything to you. What are you doing with this game?
Well, first, let's look at the rest situation. We have, a rest versus a no rest situation. As you said, the Knicks played the Lakers, and what a disappointing loss for them. They basically covered wire to wire and then end up losing by 4 in overtime. And they got there because Jalen Brunson scored 39 points and 10 assists. The problem is he got hurt in overtime and he may not be playing tonight. If you look at the Knicks, with no rest, they're in a horrible situation where they've gone 2-7 against the spread, and they're only 1-8 overall their last 9 ATS games. They're also in a stretch in their schedule where they play 14 different venues in a row. That means they played some road games, 1 home game, back on the road, 1 home, back on the road. So that's a lot of traveling. Now in LA, you're staying at the same hotel. The situations are close. And I like the LA situation when teams don't travel and have a day off in the same hotel. But again, it's tough to back those teams playing with no rest and back-to-back. I look at the Clippers. They're 6-2 ATS versus teams with no rest, including 5-1 ATS at home. Problem is this, though. The Clippers are on as bad of a run as the Knicks are. We look at what the Clippers have done, and I am not able to lay 7.5 with a team that did beat Detroit, but prior to that, they lost 2, 4, 6, 8 straight against the spread. And that Detroit, they were actually a favorite. So I don't want to lay it with the Clippers. I don't want to take it with the Knicks. But I will say this. The Clippers are a horrific first-half team. They're 2-11 ATS in the first half at home. And so if I'm going to take anything out of this game, I believe New York playing back-to-back has some legs early. So I'll take them plus 4.5 first half. And while I called my Illinois team total a best bet, this is just a slight opinion on a night game because both teams to me are in fade situations.
Ralph Michaels, awesome. You raced through that. You gave out unbelievably good information. We're lucky to have you guys. Make sure to get Ralph's guide on how to bet the college basketball conference finals. This is when Ralph puts work into these guides and they're free. You're crazy not to take a look at them. Ralph, I don't know if you're still with us. Do you have anything to promote to the clients?
Prez, I do have a 5% NHL going tonight, a rare 5%
Wow.
NHL. Check it out. On a nice little run, there's some great technical situations in the systems there that got me to this. So check it out if you feel like it. 5% WT.Buzz/RM. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week for the big week of conference tourneys.
Ralph, can you slack me the play so I can just avoid logging in? I want to know what the play is and your angles. I'm curious, okay?
I will, Prez, and I will drop in how teams done the game after the Lakers today, so you can share that if you want. I'll drop it in Slack in 5 minutes.
You're the best. Ralph Michaels, everyone. Let's keep the show moving along. Hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and give a huge round of applause to the great Andy Lang. I don't know why, Andy, but hey, you got to put up with me every day. Except Mondays. There we go. Speech, Andy. We need a speech specifically on how to bet the UFC this weekend.
Yeah, let's do a violence parlay. We hit the violence parlay last week, so let's take 2 fights to not go the distance, put them together, and you get plus 121 on DraftKings. We're going to start with I think it's first fight of the night. Jordan Santos and Ozzy Diaz will not go the distance. Prez, this is pretty easy. Ozzy Diaz has 8 amateur fights and 12 professional fights. Every single one of them have been finishes. This guy is kill or be killed. He's got energy in the first round, and if he doesn't get the knockout, he tends to get pretty tired. Santos, 3 straight decision wins, but before that, 4 finishes. He's durable. He's got good cardio. He put on a great performance on Contender Series as a plus 300 underdog against this young up-and-coming prospect. So I think Diaz either gets Jordan Santos out of there early or he gets tired and gets finished late. So we'll take that one, not go the distance. And then we'll take Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes will not go the distance. Both these guys coming off of 2 straight finishes. And Prez, if UFC fights were if UFC fights were only 1 round, Jalen Turner would be the undisputed champ. Unfortunately, they're 3 rounds, and he gets really tired. These guys are going to put on a strike fest in the first round. There's going to be a lot of damage, and I expect Turner to make one of his bonehead decisions. He has bad fight IQ. It's cost him several fights. He's going to make a big mistake, and Bahamondes will get him out of there late or Jalen Turner early. But either way, I think both these fights do not see the scorecards.
Andy Lang joining us. The UFC Violence Parlay. I love the names, Andy. I love the names that you give. Okay, so we have an NBA prop. Oh, how did yesterday's NBA prop go? Oh, also, Pavlos just killed it, by the way. I think he was on the show on Tuesday, gave out a bunch of soccer bets. Frickin' won everything. Anyway, off topic. How did that parlay yesterday do? I actually forgot to bet it.
The prop or the what?
The prop, the under in 3-pointers.
No, he went over. He had a game of the season. He shot like 90% from the field last night. No. I listen, great talking point. It doesn't matter. You go right back to it. You're going to get a fine line. You're going to go back to it. That's the first time it's hit in 11 games. We don't panic when we lose one of them. You just go right back to the streak. He had an outlier of a game. It happens. We'll continue to make money off of him.
One of our most regular, awesomest guests, B Daddy, up next. Stay tuned. Andy Lang. You know, guys out there, Andy's real name is not Andrew, and he had it on his insurance form once. Focus, Prez. Okay. An insurance company didn't want to pay him. Anyway, Ty Jerome. Over 1.5 made 3. So now we're going the inverse of yesterday, which does always worry me, Andy, but you know best.
It's a different player. Ty Jerome, over 1.5 made 3-pointers. He's become a real thing for Cleveland. Gone over in 8 out of the last 10 games. Last 10 games, he's shooting 4.7 3-point attempts, and he's shooting 53.2% from threes. And here's the key, Prez. They're playing the Charlotte Hornets. The Hornets are awful. They've lost 8 in a row. The last 3 games, they got blown out by Minnesota, 15 points, 18 points to Golden State. They lost by 13 points to the Washington Wizards. There is a chance this is a blowout, and if Cleveland rests their starters, Ty Jerome's going to get a lot of minutes in the fourth quarter. So even if he plays his normal minutes, I think he gets over. You get a blowout and the bench comes in, I think he gets some garbage time. Take his over 1.5 made 3s.
There we go. I hope you win that one. So the handsome Colin Morikawa. I like that guy, dude. I don't know. I feel like real strong positive vibes coming from that guy. I don't know why, but I do. You got a prop bet for us on him in the Arnold Invitational. I have a great Arnold Palmer story, but it would have to go another day because I'm very focused today. Tell us what it is.
Okay, so Colin Morikawa, we're going to take his under on the round score, round 2. This tees off in about 45 minutes. I had this at 71.5, literally right before we came on. It moved to 70.5 at plus money. Take the under. We talked about Xander Schauffele yesterday going over because the conditions were hard. There's no wind and guys are going really low. Perfect example, Prez. Schauffele went +5 yesterday. We told you to take the over. He's -3 through 10 holes today. This course is playing really, really easy. Morikawa was in the tough morning wave. He still shot -1 yesterday. He plays in the afternoon. That's the easy. It's an easier one. 11 out of 18 greens in regulation. 9 out of 14 fairways. They moved this to 70.5 at plus money, so you're getting even better value. I would expect him to get to -3 or -4 today.
Mic drop by the Lang. What do you got to promote?
Well, so you know what we need to do? B Daddy needs to have the full WagerTalk Today experience. So, like, I think he needs to come on like with his mic muted for like the first 3 seconds, and everyone yells at him. He also needs to be number 1 in something. Can we get him a category?
He's the number 1 guest in the chat group.
Number 1 guest last 37 days.
Yes. The last 37 days on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Yes. We have the greatest. No, well, it is Friday. So we have the greatest handicapper on Fridays when it is an odd number in March.
Yes. And then the final thing that needs to happen. The final thing that needs to happen is someone in the chat needs to get really upset at him about a play that lost last week.
Yes. Yes, I recall.
The full WagerTalk Today experience. So when he comes on, someone in the chat.
Unknown entity, I want you to bitch B Daddy out in the chat. Don't hold back. Okay.
But it has to be a play from like last week. It can't be something from like way far back. All right. We're still running the buy 2 months, get 1 free special, Prez. We always talk long-term. These bets that we do, these are not for casual bettors. These are for people that take their bankroll serious. We're coming off a really nice day yesterday, profitable in clients for darts and tennis. Those are the kind of plays it takes to build a bankroll. We're still number 1 last 365. We're still number 1 last 2 years. So if you are serious about your bankroll, which you should be, we can help build it up. We've been doing it for a long time. No promo code needed. Just go to wt.buzz/AL. You get 2 months and you get the third month free. It's an absolutely smoking deal. We're locked and loaded for UFC. And now let's get to Big Daddy. I can't wait. Good luck on your plays. Let's have a great weekend.
Big Daddy joining us. I don't know if it's big anyway. It's B Daddy. And I'm excited, dude. Are you slightly nervous? Because you shouldn't be.
No. I'm not nervous at all.
Good. I I make fun of guests when they come on. I'm not going to do that with you because I'm just going to allow everyone in the chat room to make fun of him. So, guys, take your shots. I mean, come on. Anyway, dude, I'm so thankful you're here, and we got to have a little bit of a laugh. We the other guys, Gianni and Carmine, are super quick, so don't worry about them. And especially Carmine. I mean, Carmine, I can get him in and out of the show in 2 minutes. So let's start right off the bat with, do you do this for a living or is this a recreational thing?
Recreational. I do it, I don't do it as a full-time job. It's recreational.
Yeah, that's the best answer, by the way, because as a guy who does this for a living to a degree, it is the single worst thing you can ever do in your life for a living. I was at a steakhouse last night with a $200 piece of meat while watching the Detroit Red Wings screw up the game. And the guest I was with was like, "You really need the game on your phone while we're eating?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." Okay, let's get into some plays, brother. NBA, Utah against Toronto. It's a big total. It's where you're going. What do you like in this game?
Sorry about that.
We got camera problems. Hey, B-Daddy, you're getting the full experience. All of us have camera problems, so don't worry about it.
Sorry about that.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. We'll get this show all done.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so Toronto Raptors, they're playing Utah. You like over the total of 239.5. Tell us why.
Yeah, so I like the Jazz here. Okay, so
Go ahead, my brother.
okay, so I like the over. Yes, because the last 6 matchups have gone over. Utah's 4-1 to the over the last 5. Toronto's 2-3 to the under. However, I feel that Toronto should have their way against. Can you hear me?
Yeah, keep going, dude. All of you.
Okay, yes. So the last 6 matchups have gone over between Toronto and Utah. Utah's 4-1 to the over last 5 games. Toronto is 2-3 to the under. However, I feel that Toronto should have to play offensively against a Utah team that doesn't play defense at all. So I like the Jazz. I like the over.
Yeah.
I like the over completely. 229.5. I like it.
Yeah. And B Daddy, Abby Jackson is your name. I think this play makes a lot of sense. And one of the things that I like to take into account at this time of the year for both NBA and NHL is, and especially when betting totals, is the level of intensity. Both of these teams are not going to have it. So, as we move forward, we've got teams, we're going to have teams in hockey like San Jose play Chicago or Toronto play Utah in NBA. These games are going to lean more to the overs than the unders. Conversely, when we have teams like Detroit Red Wings play teams like the Ottawa Senators, they're going to lean more to the under. So I love that pick. It makes a lot of sense to me. College basketball, you're going off board here. NCAT plus T, NT. I don't even know what I'm saying. They're playing Hofstra.
Yes.
Where are you going in this one?
Yes, NCAT versus Hofstra. So this is a neutral site game. It's Southeast Washington. So I like it under right now. It's at 126.5. Now it's at 123.5. So the last 2 meetings, one last month went under, and the last 5 games for both teams are 1-4. So everything basically correlates and connects to under. I like the under 120.5.
Abby, listen, we're obviously had some mic issues, but I got to tell you something. I'm so appreciative that you're coming on here. And, guys, I'm happy to have some of you guys on here on a semi-regular basis. I love to see you guys, see what you look like. We all spend every day together at noon to 1. B Daddy, what else you got? Anything you want to say? I'm appreciative that you took time to do this.
Nothing else to say. I have a channel, a YouTube channel you can check out for my picks.
Yes.
So I'll give it out here. It's Abby Sports Picks and Analysis. It's on YouTube.
There you go, guys.
Abby Sports Picks and Analysis on YouTube. So you get the college,
I'll give it out.
in the NHL. So
Abby Sports Picks and Analysis. You can find him at his own YouTube channel. Abby Jackson, thank you so much, my brother. Kick ass and keep if you get the microphone better, I'm happy to have you on again. But I can't have you on with the microphone herky jerky. It's tough.
Sure.
But at least you guys know out there, it's not that easy, man. There's so much technical shit that is required, and that's why we have Dan Alexander. He was our 18th choice, but 18, man. We had like 400 resumes. So, Dan, 18 is a compliment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I felt good about it. I know I was just outside. I had to slash some tires. I had to, make some forged checks so some people in front of me would drop down the list. But it all worked out, and it all led to the culmination of getting B Daddy on the show. This is the finest moment of my career.
Well, you know what, Dan, I get it, and I respect that, and I'm loving on B Daddy too, and I will check out his YouTube channel myself. So who's next? Bill Sandoval, Dirk Diegler, Javier, Unknown. I got to see did Unknown do his job and be mean to B Daddy. I gotta. I don't know. I'll have to check later, but we got to get the Wodge on here, Dan. But before any of that happens. Yeah, let's get Andrew on. Andrew, a UFC resident from the West Gate. He's in the forest, scared of mosquitoes, looking for chimpanzees while on the show handicapping the UFC. A round of applause for Andrew Babakatadis. Okay. What's up with that hat, bro?
I'm here in Palm Springs for the tennis tournament. I'm not usually rocking this hat, but I'm out in the sun all day. So right after this little podcast, I'm heading over to the tournament to watch some tennis all day.
Well, next time you go to a tennis tournament, let me know. I am friends with all the players. I'm not even lying. Really? I'm so deep into tennis connections, it's actually ridiculous. But that's a different story. Nice to have you with us, brother. Thank you for taking time, and especially given that you're at a tennis tournament. It's so awesome to have you on. Let's get into the UFC fight card this coming weekend. What stands out to you right off the bat?
Yeah, so there's a few fights that have massive money on for the pay-per-view card. Early on in the pay-per-view event, Bobby Green's fighting Rufy. We opened this one $6, but we did take a pretty big 5-figure bet on Bobby Green, the underdog in this one. So you can see the price has kind of shifted his direction quite a bit after that one. And then our sharpest UFC bettor came in on the next fight and bet on Jalen Turner. I know he's coming off a loss, but looking for a bounce back spot. He opened the favorite. The line flipped. And then our best UFC guy came in and bet Jalen Turner at plus 120. The co-main event, Rafael Fiziev, this team is going his direction. We opened that thing up closer to a pick. It's sitting now minus 165. And then in the main event, that's another awesome one that's currently sitting a pick. We opened this thing up a bit higher on Magomed Ankalaev. He was sitting around minus 140, and now it's, like I said, sitting around a pick. Expecting a lot of Alex Pereira money tomorrow. Obviously, a very popular fan favorite, so I'm expecting to see a lot of money on him tomorrow as well.
Andrew, do you guys take with the UFC? Is it as much parlay heavy as every other sport, or with with these big dogs, etc.? Are people okay? Like, where is it? Is it more parlays than
Yeah,
straight
I would
bets?
say these pay-per-view
Go on.
events usually tend to have bigger favorites. So a lot of times those guys just get thrown in a million parlays, especially the day of the fights. Yeah, I would say parlay betting is a big percentage of the handle for the UFC for sure.
And what about stuff like if it's gonna, go the distance? I mean, where do most bets go? Guy gonna win, going the distance over and under a certain amount of rounds. What's genuinely the most action?
Yeah, definitely. I would definitely say the fights is the most action. Then it would probably be the round totals. Those are also pretty popular. Method of victory over the year. A lot of times these guys, if there's too big of favorites on the card, they like to come in and sprinkle on some of the method of victory. So those tend to get a heavy amount of handle as well. Yeah, so really looking forward to this card this weekend, though, man. It's going to be a good one.
Dude, I'll tell you, this was great info. I mean, coming on here and telling us, where some of the your most respected UFC bettors are laying their hard-earned money is absolutely gold. I can't thank you enough for doing this. What else do you want to talk about? And what's happening at the Westgate this weekend?
Yeah, so I think I talked about it last week when I was on. We'll be doing a reduced juice on this main event because it's close to a pick'em, which we're lucky to have because usually the main event is a solid size favorite on these pay-per-view events. But yeah, so we'll be doing like a 105, 10-cent line. So come in if you're looking to get a decent sized wager on that fight and save some money on the juice. Very thankful you had me on. If any of you guys have some tennis plays today, feel free to hit me up on Twitter looking for some winners, betting like a degenerate out there.
Nice. Yeah, tennis is, and I've said this many times, it's actually the most bet sport in the world by pure volume of bets. I mean, it dollar wise, it doesn't touch anything, but in like just the actual number of bets made, it's unbelievable. We have some really talented tennis bettors too. I don't know if I have anything for you on today's card. But we at WagerTalk have some really talented tennis bettors. Maybe hit up Andy Lang on DM. That guy knows tennis, dude. But have fun, Andrew. Like, yes. Enjoy the sun. Clearly, you're well protected with that awesome safari hat. Make sure to put sunscreen on because it's very important to protect yourself from the life force known as the sun with chemicals made in a factory. It's very important to do. At least I'm told. Other than that, let's do it again next Friday, brother. Have fun, and I hope your bets win. Okay, guys, this show is going really well. Super fun. Shout out to B Daddy for having the balls to get on the show and doing this with us. Waj, you're next. Wherever you are, Waj, you are next up. I don't even see Waj in the chat room, Dan. Is Waj with us? There he is. Waj, you're next. And that's not today. Carmine is next today. How are you, brother?
I'm good. You're talking about tennis. Lifetime at WagerTalk, number 2, 132 units, almost 60%. In tennis, I just handle the 4 major tournaments, the Grand Slams. I don't do any of the Masters series or any of the other ones. So, and it's always just straight either set winners, match winners, or games. So I keep it to kind of like NHL, ABC, sides, totals, keep it there.
Okay, well, you're getting some love from Sean Alvarez. Now, you got to take that with a little bit of a grain of salt. Firstly, Sean Alvarez gives love to everybody. He's one of those genuinely nice people. And secondly, he works for us. Yes. So, we're going to take that with it. Jim Casey, where can I see the rankings? I don't know. Oh, he's talking about the leaderboard rankings. I don't even know offhand, but somewhere. Let's get into some actionable betting information. Carm, The NHL, listen, you and I were against each other last night. I was on Detroit. You were on Utah. I was right, but you won your bet. And that happens from time to time. Well, is that not a fair assessment? I mean, they were outshot like 41-17 or something.
Yeah, it's what you do with the shots on goal that you get. You capitalize. But listen, I get it. I would get frustrated if my team had 40 shots on goal and Detroit lost one in Columbus, where I think they outshot Columbus 40-19. So it's the exact thing. But they're a team that's struggling to score, and we're going to discuss that on today's show. But it's the trade deadline today, Prez, 3 p.m.
Yes.
Everything has just been bumping all week. Here's one for you. Almost finalized. Mikko Rantanen to the Dallas Stars. 8 years. If they can sign that contract, 8 years, $12 million a year AAV. The Dallas Stars improve that much more if they get Mikko Rantanen back on the West Coast playing for, and they likely meet up with. They could meet the Colorado Avalanche in the playoffs. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to watching the TSN desk.
Carm, if you don't mind, after your segment, if you could just boot over to Brad Treliving's house and just wake him up. Just like, Brad, you only have 2.5 more hours. Wake up! Wake up!
It's
freaking.
No, listen, Prez, I get it. You're a Leafs fan. It is tough for Toronto to get rid of any assets and bring in a player who's only going to be able to play for the first round of the playoff series anyways, of the playoffs.
Oh, Carm with his jokes. Carm with his jokes. Carm with his jokes. Okay, Joker, let's go.
All right,
New Jersey Devils playing the Winnipeg Jets. Both these teams could be very different in a few hours, or not at all. But here they are. Alas, they're playing against each other. New Jersey is an extremely small dog. It's basically a pick'em. Where is the great Carmine Bianco going?
I'm going to take the Devils in this one. Listen, as good a season or as great a season as the Winnipeg Jets are having, Prez, the schedule has been very kind to them all season long. Not a lot of situations in which they've had to play back-to-backs. Not a lot of situations where they've had to play 3 games in 4 nights. And both are in play tonight because they were in Philadelphia last night, get a 4-1 win with Eric Comrie in goal. So it's Hellebuck in goal for them tonight. But listen to these numbers. When playing the 3rd game in 4 nights, the Winnipeg Jets this season, only 4 prior situations. They are 1-3 in those spots. And when playing a second of a back-to-back, which they've only done 6 times all season long, they are 1-5 in the second of a back-to-back. Those are not good numbers for this team and just shows you for the great season they're having, there are spots throughout the year where you could play against them and cash a ticket. I think this is the one where you cash a ticket with the Devils. It's an important game for the Devils as well, too. I don't use the do factor because that does not apply to betting, but they are playing much better at home. And I get it, Jack Hughes out of the lineup, but I think they're going to make some moves at the trade deadline, and we'll see if that comes to fruition today. But I like the Devils getting plus money at home.
Carmine Bianco with us, one of the best NHL experts alive, and one of the honestly, guy, in all seriousness, all the joking aside, Carmine's one of my best friends in real life. I love this man dearly. Carmine. Let's talk Detroit. Gianni Detroit is a season ticket holder of this Red Wings team that is trying their hardest to not make the playoffs. Johnny has already announced to me, you, and the ether that if Detroit does not make the playoffs, he will give up his season tickets. I think Detroit doesn't want him there. I think Johnny must smell. He probably has bad juju. And he's probably deeply affecting the team in a negative way. And they are doing everything they can to get him to give up his season tickets. So with that said, they've lost 4 in a row. They keep outshooting teams. They have outshot teams 3 out of those 4. They're playing Washington tonight. Washington with an outstanding victory, a really good game against the Rangers, like from offensively and defensively. Where are you going in this one, brother?
Yeah, the Caps, since the restart, they had a couple big games, and then they were struggling to score goals. We thought maybe regression was setting in with this team, but as you mentioned, they play the Rangers, and they win that one against the Rangers team that is starting to play some playoff hockey now as well too, as they make a push for one of those playoff spots. The problem with Detroit is that it's the wrong time, not only for a losing streak, it's the wrong time for your scoring to dry up. And it's one of the reasons why I liked Utah going into yesterday's game, because Utah had been playing well defensively and were making a playoff run of their own. This is a second of a back-to-back for Detroit. 7 prior instances this year where they have played a back-to-back game. The under is 5-1-1 in those games. They get Logan Thompson. They face Logan Thompson tonight. This guy is having a phenomenal year. 26-4, 232 goals against average, 918 save percentage. And Detroit's 16-11-1 to the under on the road, which is, as far as ROI goes, that's like plus 1351 ROI in betting Detroit unders on the road. They've only faced each other one time this year in Detroit. That game finished 4-2. There was 5 goals in the first period of that game, and it still stayed under the total because the total was 6.5 into that one. I like the Caps in this spot. And I'm not going to pronounce Detroit dead as of yet. Detroit has Washington tonight. They go to Ottawa, play a big game against Ottawa this weekend, and then return home and play the Sabres. They need to win at least 2 of 3. If they somehow found a way to win all 3 games, bang, they're right back in the playoff discussion, Prez. And Gianni does not give up those tickets. I got no beef to pick with Gianni, by the way, other than the fact that Johnny's Polish, and I'm addicted to it's punchki season right now. I don't know if you've ever had those, or
Everybody loves a good punchki. I'd like to punchki you in the face right now. Just throwing that out there.
Dude, they fill them. They fill them with like raspberry, blueberry. A punchki is like a cream-filled donut. They're absolutely phenomenal. The plum ones are just as good too. But yeah, they're fantastic.
Well, I wish you the best punchki you've ever had in your life. We have one more game to talk about. I do not agree with you on your under in Detroit and Washington. I'm not going with the over, but there's just no defense currently being played by both these teams over the last, say, 5-6 games, and that is what worries me. But I'm passing tonight in the NHL, Carmine. I'm passing because I've lost 3 straight, which is very abnormal for me, and I'm passing because none of the games jump out at me, and I'm passing because it's trade deadline day, and I'm worried. Vancouver playing Minnesota. I lean on the under in this game. Where are you going?
I would. While I like that,
I think you want to punchki me right now.
I do. But that's fine. We were gonna trade you to Sports Memo for a bag of pucks and a couple shawarmas, but Johnny nixed the deal. That's how much he loves you, man.
Thanks, Johnny.
With that said, I think the Vancouver Canucks are the right player. They come off a losing road trip. They return home, and they get a win against Anaheim. And you can look at it and say, well, it's Anaheim, but Anaheim's playing some pretty good hockey as well too at the moment. And they were in sort of that playoff discussion, even though they're not going to make the playoffs. But they're 4-0-1 their last 5 games at home. And look at some of the teams that they've beaten. They beat the Toronto Maple Leafs. They beat the Colorado Avalanche. They beat the the Washington Capitals. So the freebies in those 4 wins that they got on home ice, they're playing well, playing a wild team that is still missing Kaprizov. And while it's going to be Gustafsson in goal tonight, he's allowed 3 or more goals in 5 of his last 7 games. So he's their number 1 goalie. But the Canucks, the time is now for them to make a playoff push, and they weren't winning games at home earlier in the season, but they are winning them now, and you got to win on home ice in order to make the playoffs. So I'll take the Canucks, and I'll lay the $1.35 here.
Carmine, awesome job, dude. Thanks for doing this. What do you got to promote?
2 plays up for tonight at 4% NHL best bet, and I will have a 5% play that I just need to finish the write-up on for tomorrow night's NHL. Ice 100 will get you $100 off the rest of the NHL season and the NHL playoffs as well too. 29.2 units the last 30 days in NHL, number one at WagerTalk, running extremely well on the ice and hoping to continue it through the rest of the regular season and the playoffs.
There we go. Carmine Bianco, everyone. Let's keep going. The great, the wonderful, according to his fiance, the sexy Gianni The Greek joining us. What up, my brother?
My man, busy day, Prez. I fired already so many, and I'm pissed coming off a losing day for subscribers. And I actually just texted Johnny because it frustrates me when I'm having like a winning week with the accounts like last week, but narrowing it down just isn't going my way for the last couple days. And I had to get that venting frustration out. And Johnny's like, dude, for long term, you're doing the right thing. You're doing best by your subscribers. That stuff evens out with the information you have at your fingertips. In time, as the sample size gets bigger, the profit will be there. So I just had to hear it because it sucks. I can show you yesterday's day, and you're going to hear it from me. I ended up losing. No excuses. It's my job to narrow down.
Gianni.
So it's not an excuse. It's just frustration.
Gianni, so listen for a second. Firstly, we're going till 12:55. We got tons of time. Secondly, okay, so let's bring it down. Now listen to me. I'm in the exact same boat, dude. So, I give out at every game on the board in the NHL. Here's, what I think. Blah, 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 blah. I go like 8-1. The one is the one my client play. This happens all the time. It's Murphy's Law in gambling. So a couple of things. First and foremost, never get upset for missing winners. They're there to, you'll get them tomorrow. We have to be careful when giving out plays to our clients and this is a very important topic, Gianni, and one that everybody should understand. I could bet 20 plays tonight and I could only release 2 or 3 to my clients. And they'd be like, well, why aren't you releasing 20? If I release 20 and I go 20-0, nothing happens. The next day, it is 50-50 on whether the client even purchases me again. On a 20-0 day, it's 50-50 if they even buy me again the next day. But I guarantee you, if I go 0-20, they will never buy me again for the rest of their lives. They will cuss me out. They will piss on me. They will bitch me out to their wife, to their children. They'll call their friends. They'll have a meeting with their pastor. There will be an article in the Gazette. Nothing good comes from being a high volume handicapper. You get nothing when you win, and you get lambasted when you lose. Johnny is right. You are right. In the long term, if we provide the clients with the very best of what we do, the math will work itself out. Last night you lost your client plays. You won the plays you left out. Tonight, it'll be the inverse. You will win your client plays and you will lose the ones you left out. It'll all work out in the long run. Stick to the plan. Stick to the program. Low volume is the way to go. Okay.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I hit 4% plays. It's not like buried, but I just yeah. And here's what's beautiful.
Kills me.
At least the WagerTalk Today, guys, if you bet the Austrian hockey, you cash. If you bet the rugby, you cash. Those that I couldn't release, but it's solid. It's such good information. So, like you said, long term is what I that's what I preach. That's my goal. If your goal's aligned with mine, I won't disappoint you. And that's when December 31st rolls around for us to be profitable. That's all I care about.
Yeah. So stay focused on that, and let's not get worried because honestly, dude, your plan, like what you were doing in the past, and you were winning long term. Like, let's be honest here. When you were releasing 20 plays in a day, you were winning. The problem is Nobody can
benefited.
sustain. Nobody can sustain the 3 bad days you have along the way.
Yep.
They
That's what I
just-
realized. That's what I realized, Chris. That's why I had to change it up, because I was finishing number 1 at WagerTalk, but guys that I were like, dude, I got buried during the cold streak and never was able to benefit from it. So what good is it for them? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So you got to do what's best for the majority. That's the key for the most amount of people. So yeah, thank you for letting me vent a little bit. And
dude, don't worry.
Because it's a great day of action.
Mark Valdez writes, how many plays do I put out on a regular day? Well, like, for instance, today I'll end up with probably 4. Yesterday I had 5. 5 is about the maximum. I would say on a whole, it's somewhere between, given that there's 3 major sports going on right now, it's somewhere between 3 and 5. I like to do 1 per sport, but with college basketball having so many games, there are, today I have 3 college basketball games. And you, Capper, Ron Kabang, it's a tough game we play. Oh, Ron. Truer words have never been spoken. Gianni, 4 minutes. What are we going to bet tonight? Let's start with hoops.
Well, yeah, let's dive right in. Actually, I have a game that I just sent out a 3% play on an early college basketball game. Let me get that for you. It was, where did we go here? Hold on. Let me pull that one up. Let me just get in here at WagerTalk so I could tell you, because it's a premium play and you still have time to bet it. I went over 153 Western Carolina Mercer, over 153 Western Carolina Mercer, good all the way up to 154. I said, I always write parameters on what it's a 3% up to. A couple more plays in that game. We also bet 857 Western Carolina plus 6.5 and plus 6. A couple conference tournament for yous. In Summit League, 865 over 164 South Dakota, North Dakota State. Big South Conference, it's 306-508 Winthrop minus the 4. Coastal Athletic Conference, 853 Stony Brook plus the 7. Let's get to, where else can I get? 828 Western Michigan Bowling Green under 144.5, and one more Southern Conference first round. 850. I just gave you that 857. So I'll give you one more instead. 843 UNLV New Mexico over some NBA for you NBA fans out there. Let's go with 572 under 236 San Antonio Sacramento. 569 over 227.5, 228 Portland, Oklahoma City. And I know we got a lot of guys out there that love props. Here's a couple props we got down on in the Spurs Sacramento game. Let's go with Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine under 5.5 rebounds, good to 150. Under 5.5 rebounds, Zach LaVine, good to minus 150. And then Chris Paul assists. Chris Paul assists under 7.5, also good up to minus 150. So there's some college basketball, some NBA for you guys. Again, tournament time is here, so should be nothing but damage when the dust settles. I'm excited.
Gianni The Greek joining us. Gianni, let me throw a couple of things at you. The beginning of the show, I said to Ralph that my gut feeling was teams playing a game after they play the Lakers are a fade team. Ralph has gotten statistics on that, and over the season, I am wrong. They're 29, 30, and 1, so it's basically break even. However, it would be interesting to look since Luka joined.
Since the trade,
Ralph,
yep.
Yeah, that's actually what I meant. But Ralph did send in 2 unbelievable stats that I want to give out before we call it a day. And that is that teams, after they play the Wizards, are 36, 22, and 1 against the spread. That is a 62% teams after they play the Wizards. Now, we could say, well, that's because the Wizards are bad and they get their mojo and they, play very free-flowing, etc., etc. Except teams playing against, after they play the Raptors, are 23, 37, and 1.
Wow.
So the best bet in basketball right now are the same 2 bets. Play on a team after they play the Wizards and play against a team after they face the Raptors. 62% on the Wizards, 38% on the Raptors. That's some incredibly good information from Ralph Michaels. I'm so thankful he gave that to me. This is the type of shit that I think is gold. Gianni, what do you got? That's it. We got to call it a show. Anything else real quick?
Oh, you're going to love it. I got 4% power slap bets for tonight. I will be there in attendance. So I already unloaded and threw that in there. My girl's like, how can you not release that package? You got good information on it. I said, you know what? I am going to do it. Go ahead. Put a package up. 4 slap. There's 2 4% in there. I have my MMA for tomorrow with a 5%. I have my season win total, 7 of those with a 5%. I have an open Steam room tomorrow. That's what's good. We can talk about that because anyone that partnered up with me with accounts, they know that they won the last 2 weeks. So the Steam room, though, tomorrow will be open to everybody. Yep. And we're going to cover a lot of stuff. So excited about that. Dude, and as I told you yesterday, we already have the first date for the first blackjack class. So exciting times ahead, my brother.
2 quick things. Mark Valdez wants a UFC prop bet. Do you have one right off the top of your head?
At plus 200, Petrosian to win inside the distance over Fajeda. Plus 200, Petrosian to finish Fajeda inside the distance.
And secondly, I'd like to officially challenge you. I will be in Vegas on April 22nd. I want to slap off with you. And I put the line at minus 400 Prez.
Well, the chin should be fine. It's the nose I have problem with the Greek nose. See, if it was that, then it would be different. I don't even want to get there. You're getting bigger and bigger every time I see you.
Steroids, bro. Gianni, thank you for doing this, man.
Thank you,
Lots of love, my brother. Kick ass this weekend. Sorry we didn't have a lot of time, but hey, we got you on for 10 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys, what a show. 6 guests all in the bag. Shout out to all of them. Ralph, Andrew, Andy, Carmine, and Gianni. And a huge shout out to B Daddy. Took time out of his day to come on. We want to get some of you listeners on more regularly. Waj, you're next. I am not here Monday and Tuesday. Joe Ranieri will be stepping in for me. I'll be back on Wednesday. An incredible amount of love to all of you guys. Go Leafs. I hope you all win your bets this weekend. And we'll see you personally on Wednesday, but the show will be back on Monday.
Mike's clear. Great job, Prez. No, that was good. Yeah, it was great. You didn't want it to feel like